first podcast. I'm very excited. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I mean, I spent a lot of time into this, and I finally get to record. I finally get to share my ideas, and I finally get to just overall have a good time. But yeah, this podcast is gonna be about me and questions that you guys want me to answer. So let's get started. BPA gang, aka Isabella, as what's your backstory and why do you want to start this podcast? Okay. So my backstory, I was born in Oklahoma City, raised in Mexico, Culiacan, Sinaloa, and so I was 10. And then I came back here 2020 during COVID. I mean, that was like a fun experience because like I was so used to being outside every single day back in Mexico and playing with the kids. I was playing canicas. I was correteando, like playing tag, and getting here to the United States and like during COVID especially, I was just locked up, basically. I was just playing Fortnite. I was just doing anything I could so I can stay entertained. I'm like, I still am. I was a pretty hyper person and I was like always moving around, and yeah, I remember going to, like after COVID, right? I remember going to school, not knowing English, obviously. I was about 10, so I was going into the 6th grade. I was in 5th or 6th grade, and I didn't know any English, right? So that was definitely a struggle for me because I didn't know how to communicate with anyone. I was so used to being a sociable person and having that, what's it called? That thing that was stopping me from socializing with people and playing with people. Then that definitely got to me, I was always the kid who was the first one to tag or to raise your hand. And now that I came here in a place where I didn't know anything, I didn't know any traditions, I didn't know, English, I didn't know how to treat myself here, because treating yourself in Mexico and here is another whole two different stories, And I remember sitting a lot at lunch by myself, just sitting, right? I was used to eating burritos, tacos, tortas, but here I was just eating pizza and chocolate milk. And after a while, I learned English. That was pretty awesome. That was actually pretty awesome. I will admit that was one of my like chingon moments. Basically, I was so tired of not being able to talk to people and play with people that at 11, right, I was like, pues no puedo jugar con nadie, no tengo nada que hacer. Entonces, ¿qué tal si aprendo el lenguaje y literalmente ya tengo todo lo que puedo hacer? ¿Me entiendes? Entonces, I was reading books, I was socializing with people. Las caricaturas que veía las puse todas en inglés. And I think that's what helped me the most. Porque no tenía tanto contacto con las personas de mi edad. Entonces, pues, nomás miraba puras caricaturas, Entonces, si yo las ponía en inglés, al pasar de tiempo, tenía que, obviamente, aprender el idioma, ¿no? Porque es todo lo que escuchaba. Entonces, that's what I did. I started reading books, I started writing in English, and when I was 13, I remember this. I was like sitting down at lunch, I was sitting by myself, and I believe I was in 7th grade, I think, or 8th grade. I was in middle school, and I didn't know English. They know me as the no sabo kid, literally because I didn't know any English. But yeah, I remember sitting at lunch and I saw this group of people that didn't look like me, that speak English, I didn't, that they had you know, multiple things that at the time we couldn't afford. They had the newest phone. I had an Android back then. And I went up to them and talked to them. And basically, I was trying to be really friendly, right? Because you know how you translate something in Spanish to English? In Spanish makes a lot of sense, but in English it doesn't. So I was using all those phrases in Spanish that didn't make any sense in English. So they started laughing at me, and that stuck with me, you know. So I started reading more, like a lot of books. All the time that I spent playing games and watching cartoons, I spent into the books, into writing, kind of like when you're studying into your ACT, kind of like that, by the age of 13. And, over time, I started to know English. I started to socialize with people even more, kind of like I did back then. By this time, I started socializing with a purpose, which was practicing my English, getting better at my English, and overall, just be proud of my accent, be proud of my tradition and my culture, because that's what inspired me. That's who I am. And if and if you don't feel like you belong in that specific environment, then just build your own, right? What they say, what do you bring to the table? Just bring the whole table. That's easy. But yeah, that's kind of a backstory. Now that I'm here starting this podcast, talking to you guys, and the purpose of this podcast is just to practice my communication skills, because I want to get into politics, and I feel like public speaking will help me a lot. Besides, I get to help you guys. Like, if you want to share a story, if you have a purpose, if you have a business that you want to promote, if you have any like ideas, suggestions that you want to put out there, you can come in here, talk about it, and overall just have a good time. So Isaac asks, are you Catholic? Of course I am. I believe in God. I believe in Guadalupe, en la Virgencita, and I pray the Rosario. I mean, being Catholic is who I am. It defines every decision that I made. And I do believe that God is the answer. There's been times where I've been lost and I've been facing this blockade of things and options that I have. So I rely on God. I pray. I ask Him for answers. And whatever He says, I just go for it. It's what's right. It's what motivates me. And recently, I was facing this kind of blockade where I had two big options, whether I continue doing this thing and drop the other thing, or just keep doing both and hopefully it works out. So I couldn't sleep at night and I was praying, those late night prayers. So I asked Him, I was like, hey, should I focus on one thing, or should I juggle multiple things and hope for the best? So that stuck with me. And later that morning, I was reading the Bible, and I came across this verse, Galatians 3:28. I advise you to read it. And, that's what helped me get through it. And now, like, I am who I am thanks to Him. Because there's been a lot of times where I rely on Him, ask Him for answers, He gives it to me. It's all worked out to me. And yeah, it's just, I love being Catholic. Big T as, how do you live as a Latino? I live amazing. Quite literally. I do believe that Mexican food is the best food out there. And then there's Italian, and there's this Greek, But yeah, I love burritos. I love tortillas. There's no a single meal or a single day where I don't have tortillas. I have to have some kind of tortillas. And tacos, oh my goodness, best thing ever. But how do I live as a Latino? I live amazing. I do believe that being a Latino is a great thing. You know, you get to experience things. Um, you basically are raised by these hard-working individuals that want the best for you, and it's just awesome. You know, it's like having your own mentor before you even need one. You know, like that's awesome. And then just sitting down with la familia, with la raza, and comerte unos tacos or comerte un pozole. Mi mamá hace el mejor pozole. You gotta try it. It's just awesome, you know. And I love our culture. I love our traditions. And since I got to live through them, and I got to live in Mexico, I get to contemplate them and appreciate them more here because I know their meaning behind it, and I just know how deep of an impact we have in the world. Because if you think about it, Hispanic people, Latino people, they're all over the world, you know, and it's just awesome. We're awesome. I just love being a Latino. All right, guys. So last question. I just love everything about these guys. Like I got the camera right there. I got the camera right there. I got the camera right there. And then I got my mic. Oh my goodness. I'm in love. Stylish gang ask, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? Definitely a lawyer, you know. By 10 years from now, I will be 26. I'm 16 right now. Hopefully by then, I have my own law firm, Val's Associates, right? And I'm thinking about do personal injury law or do defense law. You know, I'm between those two, but I do know that I don't want to do family law just because there's kids involved, and I just don't want to ruin that for them. And yeah, in 10 years from now, I will have my own law firm, Val's Associates, and it's going to be awesome, you know. And I do love everything about business. So, probably going to go to college for business and go to graduate school or law school for personal injury law or defense law, you know. But yeah, I do think that will help others, and I do think that's the right path for me. All right, guys. Damn, I almost. Ooh. All right, guys. So, thank you so much for watching this video. First podcast. I'm really excited. Like, really, really excited. And yeah, let me know what you think below. I'm definitely gonna do more of this. I think I'm recording this on a Monday. So by Friday, I'm gonna have some guests over, and we're gonna talk about how great YLX is. Youth leadership has changed. I love everything about it. Mackenzie, you are the GOAT. I love Mackenzie. We all love Mackenzie, right? But yeah, thanks a lot for watching this video, and stay tuned for another banger.